What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's episode of CFP Talks. And we got a special one for you this week. The question is watching videos actually study? And if this question has been kind of burning in the back of your head, I've been watching a lot of videos. I don't know if it's necessarily translating to the QBank, to my scores. I feel like I watch videos two, three times. I still don't really know what's going on. Then today's episode is for you. Raman and I are going to break down if videos are actually working for you and how you should be integrating them in your study. Now, beneath this video, we have a couple special offers for you. If you want to use the question bank that we use in our group class, we have a 1,500 question Q bank that varies in length of quiz, in the difficulty. It walks you through topic quizzes, it walks you through cumulative quizzes. That link for that Q bank is directly underneath this video. And we are doing that with a 7-day money back guarantee. For any reason, if you don't like it, feel free to return it to us. No questions asked. If you'd like to sit down with me and you want to discuss if one of our programs is actually suitable for you, please use the assessment link directly beneath this video, and you and I will sit down and chat for 30 to 45 minutes and see if that's actually the case. So we hope you enjoy this video, and now let's go and make that next attempt your last. Raman, happy Friday, buddy.
Happy Friday to you too. It's finally getting cooler out here, man. If you look at my screen, you're not going to see 95 or 105 degrees anymore.
We're going to see 91 to
Not
93.
91 to 93, baby. Let's go.
Oh, tapping into those 80s. It's getting cool in
Almost there, almost there,
Arizona.
almost there, almost there.
We're actually in a heat wave here in Southern California where it's like been 80 to 90 degrees every day. And I'm
Oh,
like, it's
wow.
been like amazing. You like step outside and you immediately start roasting. And I'm like, so happy I'm stuck in an office and can't go to the beach at all during the
Oh,
week.
man.
Yay.
First
This
world
is great.
problems over
I
here.
know, right? First world problems is right.
That's funny.
But how's it going? How was your week?
Good, man. We should see some results fairly soon. So, Christmas is right around the corner. I'd love to see some nice numbers, basically.
Yeah. I think, we just wrapped up our November group. Um, we have one more office hour to go that's coming up, and it's really an exciting time. It's a nerve-wracking as well because we have to sit back and kind of hope all of the work that we did with our students actually pans out, and we don't see anybody go into the exam room and panic, which it's always a wild card. We never know what's going to happen once you walk into the exam room.
Yeah.
But now that we get a chance to kind of sit back and reflect on this November group, and I always kind of like to sit down, reflect, think about the things that we want to change going forward. And, as I've been meeting more and more people the last couple of months, even as class has been going on, and I'm sure, Raman, you experience this as well with your one on ones. You hear it in your small groups. But when we are chatting with a student initially, and we typically ask them how they're studying, and I think this is becoming more and more cloudy as more and more technology comes out, is how do I actually study? And is watching videos actually studying? Because a lot of students will come to us, well, I said, did you read the book? And they're like, no, but I watched the videos. Actually, I watched the videos two times, three times, four times, and it's like I get so much more out of watching a video than I do out of reading or doing anything else. And I think we're starting to experience problems of convenience when it comes to studying,
Yep.
where, our providers, I had somebody who I was chatting with the other day, and they brought up the Dalton like back end, and it looks gorgeous. Like it's fantastic. Like you can choose, and there's analytics and all these buttons and resources, and it's beautiful. Still doesn't change the fact that you having all of those resources to me is like walking into a Michelin star kitchen, but the only thing you know how to do is boil a hot dog.
Yeah.
right? Like I can have the most amazing kitchen in the world, but if I don't know what to do with it, it doesn't necessarily make it doesn't make my cooking better because I have better tools,
Right.
right? So my skill has to come up. So here's my question, and I want us to be very poignant about this topic. Is watching videos studying?
No, I mean, that's the short answer. It's not. Now, if I was to add a little bit more context to that, so I don't piss off a lot of people with this, is watching a video is something that helps us maybe understand what we're studying. Okay, like I've read this 4 times, I don't get it. Watch a video on it. But if you just watch a video, you're not studying.
Okay, so let me paraphrase what you're saying. So you're saying watching a video in isolation is not studying. What if I watch that video and I go do a 10 or 15 question quiz like most of our students are doing, like most CFP candidates are doing, is I read the book, maybe, but I'm not really reading, watch the video, and then I do a quiz, and then lather, rinse, repeat.
It's like I'm gonna throw this back at you now. Like it's like watching a video to learn how to make like chicken biryani, for
Mm,
example. You
mm,
watch so many videos, but then you look at like, well, it's cayenne pepper. Sure, I gotta add cayenne in it. But there's a different level of cayenne peppers you can buy. And if you end up buying the wrong cayenne pepper, the tablespoon of one cayenne pepper might not be the same, level
mm,
of intensity with the spice versus the other cayenne. So you have to truly understand, am I putting in the right cayenne in there?
mm.
Right. So in that similar context, watching a video and taking practice tests is basically rinse and repeat of attempting to trying your best on understanding the stuff, but you're not fully going to grasp into the entire information. There's gonna be loopholes. You're
Yeah.
building a bridge with not proper reinforcement that you need to. That's what
Mm.
it just comes down to.
Do you think it's again, like the more convenient things become, like again, I when I studied for the CFP, and I don't mean to be like old man River here, like back in my day, we had books and we chiseled thing on papyrus. That's not what I'm trying to get at. I think that there's too many resources now that make it overly easy for you to feel like you're studying, but you're not studying. Like, I feel like watching videos and doing practice tests is the Duolingo version of
Hmm.
studying for the CFP. Yeah, I logged into my app and I got a check mark and I got a check mark and another. Look how good I'm doing. And then I talk to you in another language. You're like, I have no idea what you're saying.
Hmm.
Right? There's no
Yeah.
actual getting your hands dirty with the material because I'm filling in the blank on a couple of sentences. So I think what watching a video, is it bad to watch a video? No. Would I put it in the category of building your skill set for CFP? No. Do I think it's a necessary part? Yes. I do think watching videos is a good part of studying, but I think you have to understand that watching videos is very passive.
Hmm.
I going back to your example, I'm never gonna learn how to cook chicken biryani by watching a video. I have to actually cook chicken biryani to do it,
Right.
right? I have to do the recipe, and even if I follow the video exactly, I'm still not gonna learn it because I have to see it from, I need to know what those vegetables need to look like, or that sauce needs to look like, or that garlic or the onions need to look like before I put in the next step. And then I
Yep.
do the next thing, and then I do the next thing. But if you don't actually start getting your hands dirty with the material, you're never going to do it. And if your version of it is watch the video, and I ask you from that video, what is the next step after you put the onions in the pan? Oh, garlic. Ding. What the fuck have you learned?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Like how long were you supposed to cook the onions for? What color and texture do the onions need to look at before you add the garlic? And what's the heat
yeah.
on the on on the pan?
Mhm.
What type of pan do you have? Because guess what? If you
Right.
have a thicker metal pan, it's gonna cook food differently versus if it's a different density of the pan. Like
That's
all
right.
these things factor in, and
Sure.
studying is no different.
Right.
Like you could sit here and be like, well, I watched a video, the difference between krat and kruts. Okay, cool. Now tell me, how do you differentiate the key differentiator between a krat and a crut? And if a client wants an income that is steady, would you recommend a krat or a crut at that point?
Right.
And if you can't answer that, it's just kind of like, well, what did the video do for you?
Correct. And I think watching a video does something that's more subtle, which it prepares you for linear studying. And linear studying is great because it feels like you have control. But the reality of it is that learning is a big, messy, chaotic process.
Yeah,
So, like, and if you talk to like a great chef and they're like, oh, how did you get so good at making this recipe? And they're like, I made it 10,000 times. Like, I know exactly what the tomato looks like. And I know that every pan is going to be a little different and every stovetop will be different. But I can cook this recipe in any kitchen, any place, anytime with any tools. And I can make this recipe happen. And I feel like as a CFP student, we are looking for a lot of convenience of checking boxes as opposed to getting our hands dirty and actually getting engaged with the material where I'm starting to connect it. Because you hit on something that's really important. There's no chance ever that I'm going to know how to deal with a client scenario by simply watching a video.
yeah,
And I think CFP does a really good job of on the exam and in general through the material of this entire process of saying client X comes to you and we hear client, well, it was written so weird, right? Well, guess what? The fucking clients who are going to be sitting in front of you are going to have very odd, nuanced situations sometimes,
yeah,
right? A lot of them are going to have a lot of similarities, but everybody's going to have this weird nuance. We have to take care of this parent, or we have this odd situation, or this weird piece of real estate, or we have the stock that we're not willing. You're always going to have some nuance to the situation. And it's your job to connect the facts of your case and of your client into a solution that might be outside of the linear box.
yeah, 100%. And that's where the adaptability and understanding of the once again the material comes into play. And as we're talking about this, I just had a reflection of one of my students for the November exam. Very bright, intelligent person, makes really good money, runs, manages like $200 million book, right?
That's a big book.
Yeah, I mean, but he works for one of those large companies where he's still an employee,
Okay.
but very intelligent guy. Comes up to me and very overwhelmed. Got he has ADD, ADHD, so that's another like struggle with a lot of the ADHD students, and I can resonate to that because I experienced similar situation when I was studying for the exam. He
Mm.
comes up to me and says, Joe, Raman, um, I'm watching Danko's videos, but I have to stop it every single time. He's like, because he's speaking too fast. I don't really quite understand what's going on. He's like, I have to keep pausing it and writing stuff down. And at that point, I'm like, dude, like you're wasting all this time watching this video. Just go read the stuff first. Read the stuff.
Yeah.
Try to memorize the stuff as you, because remember, this is a statistical scientific fact. When you're reading and writing and speaking, the probability of you learning goes up significantly. I think there's like a 90% retention at that point when you're reading, writing, and speaking that stuff,
Mm.
right? Now, and I told him, I was like, read what you're write what you're reading, and you kind of talk to yourself as you're doing it. And then after you've completed all this module, then go back and watch that video, and you'll see a significant amount of difference with your learning. And when he did that, he's like, Raman, that was a game changer for me,
Oh yeah.
right? So you're not just relying on the video itself, because once again, he's just sitting here, pause, play, pause, play, pause, play, because he's trying to learn using a video and trying to study using a video.
Mm.
But we have to implement our studying habit. We have to implement videos as part of our studying habit, but not make it like a siloed in study strategy.
Right. But and I feel like most people approach videos, which is like, "Ugh, I just want to get this over with,
Yeah,
right? So I'm not, I know, and you know that most of us are half distracted, right? I put up a video on my screen, I have another monitor, and my email's up on that. And I see an email come in. So as they're talking, and all of us, I don't give a fuck who you are. All of us are multitasking constantly, especially with a double monitor, right? So you see the email come in. Oh, hmm. Okay, I'm gonna listen with this ear, but you're not paying attention. That's it. The effectiveness of that video has gone down.
Yep.
Remember that audio visual from a retention standpoint is somewhere around 10 to 20%. When you watch a video, assuming you are fully paying attention, meaning you have some notepad in front of you, you're pausing the video to write down notes, you have nothing open on your other screen, there's no text coming in, there's no emails, you're fully focused and engaged in a video. Even at that point, the retention is 10 to 20%. Now, imagine you throw in your distraction, that video drops to maybe 5%. So that means you can watch 60 minutes worth of video and you're going to absorb 3 minutes.
Yeah.
3 minutes. So you're going to pick up things on 3 minutes. So there you go. 57 minutes that you're not necessarily going to remember because you're not fully engaged in the video as it is. Now, if you're engaged in the video, the more engaged in the video, the more you're going to get out of it. But in reality, the way that we all use videos is we watch it as a lecture and we kind of nod our head. And now, I did CFA and I watched videos, and a lot of times I was just trying to get through the fucking video. Oh my
Yeah.
God. And then I was like, man, I got to dump this attitude because I'm trying to rush through the material to get to a practice question that I'm going to take so I can feel good that I've done something and and then I can check it off my box and look, I've studied. And then I would get to an exam at the end and I'm like, "Oh my God.
Hmm.
I feel like I have never seen this material before. What are they talking about? Like like what did I do wrong here?" And I again, I can be very, very easily distracted. So when I would watch videos, especially when I started getting into level 2 and 3, I took the time off of it. Like where I'm like, how long is it going to take me to get through? However long it takes me to get through this video, the video has to get done today, but however long it takes me to get through is however long it takes me to get through.
Yeah.
So if that means if I'm done at 7, I'm done at 7. If I'm done at 8, I'm done at 8, but the video has to get done today.
Yeah.
But I would have to like slow myself down. So I would be reading, reading the material as the person was going through the video, and then I would be making notes. A 3-hour video would take me 6, 7 hours to get through.
Right, because you're approaching it from an angle where you're using it as a supporting mechanism, not just a proactive way of studying.
Correct.
You're reading it, you're studying something, you're like, okay, let me watch the video. Did what I read, did that sound similar to what the video is gonna say? Right? Like that's a very different approach of studying. And I'm all about that approach.
Right.
Right? You read and then you stop and you're like, okay, I just read this. Let me see what the video is talking about, about the same material. Did it all make sense? And you know what it should be? You read something and you're like, okay, I read this, and then you watch the video, you should know more than the video at that point.
But I still, even with that approach, would not still consider video being my studying. My studying really started when I started engaging with the material because I'd still do all of that work, but then I get to the practice questions and I was like, I still don't feel comfortable with the
Yeah,
material yet because I still haven't really engaged like it was great. So I felt like video set the table, but it didn't that wasn't part of my studying. That was just me getting to know what I'm going to be engaging with. But
right.
it did nothing more than that. And I would go back and I would watch videos 2 and 3 and 4 times and I stopped doing that because I was using that as an escape. I don't understand the material. Let me go back and watch the video because, again, logic would say you don't understand. Go back and watch the video 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And I stopped doing that. And I said, no, I got to figure it out for myself where I'm going to have to grudge through this and figure it out. And sometimes that meant I was staring at a practice question for 4 or 5 minutes. And then I'm like, oh, that's it. And my head would hurt. Like my head would hurt. like it would hurt a lot. But that was where things started to come together when I had to start talking through the material, when I had to start answering open-ended questions. When somebody would ask me, or me and my study partner would do this, we would ask a question, explain why a delta neutral strategy isn't appropriate for a client looking, and we would do this for level 3 of CFA, and we would ask each other those questions, and it'll be like you had to fumble and stumble and bumble through it, and then you're like, okay, I think I'm starting to understand it, where even when I get to the multiple choice, now that's starting to make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
But I don't look at video going, oh, that was the make or break moment. It set the stage, and it was certainly a part of what I did, but that wasn't it.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons, kind of going back to our class, how we have it structured is the open-ended questions format
Yeah.
is if you just watch the videos, you're not going to be able to answer open-ended questions because we need more context to that. And with reading the material, understanding the material, and then later on watching the video to kind of reinforce what you already know, it'll allow you to answer open-end questions, therefore knowing your material. Therefore, once you go into attacking multiple choice questions, you're going to have so much more knowledge base, you're going to easily be able to answer your multiple choice questions at that point.
Agreed. And I think it's so uncomfortable to do it. I think part of embracing learning is embracing that it's not comfortable,
Yeah.
right? There's no, when you're learning, again, your resources don't substitute your effort. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
important
Right.
thing.
Right.
Like you still have to put in effort. That's where the learning is going to happen, is by you putting in the effort. Again, and we all know it. Like, how many people do you see at a gym that are still fat, but they are at the best gym in the world? Right? And you see it, right? I I work out at a gym called Equinox sometimes, and you walk in, and sometimes you see people in there, and they're like, they have a personal trainer. That person is massaging them. They're doing the Theragun at the end. And you're sitting there going, well, what is that going to do? If your goal is come in here to get in shape and lose weight or be more cardiovascular fit, or I want to be more mobile, or you got to get your ass in the weights and or go and run instead of just sitting there and doing light. Well, you see oh, I see the way that they're working. That's great. Wow, look at
Hey, I
them.
watched a video of working out. All right. That should
Yeah.
help me lose my weight.
Right. And here's the thing is like and now CFP is starting to get more and more videos on more and more things, ourselves included. It's very easy to get yourself twisted upside down and inside out, right? Working out, like if you type in fastest way to build muscle on YouTube, holy shit, prepare to be inundated. And you're going to get 50,000 opinions. What about going to the gym and working out?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to waste time. Well, unfortunately, that's part of the process. Is you're gonna have to waste time to learn what the right and wrong things are. You're gonna have to do things incorrectly to do them correctly.
Yeah.
This is not DoorDash. This is not ChatGPT. It's not delivered to your door. If you want real results, you got to put in the real effort.
Yeah. So, Joe, and I know we've kind of talked about this previously in one of our videos. So, people who are about to start studying for the CFP exam, whether they're, second attempters, third, or even first timers, and they have the videos, they have the study material, right? They have all the stuff and the practice questions. We're probably, this video is going to be launching around in December, I'm guessing, right? So, we're in December at this point. I'm going to study. How do I complement my videos and my books, my textbook? Give me like the blueprint right now. Hey, that I'm about to start studying for the exam. It's December. How do I implement my videos in my studying, and what should I be focusing on as kind of like my day-to-day routine?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think videos are going to be really helpful at the initial start of the process. Beyond the initial part of the process, you got to be diving in. And if videos are part of that, that's absolutely fine. If there's things that are introducing exercise or demonstrating or telling you what to do, those are absolutely fine things. What I'm saying is that you can't solely depend on videos to get you there.
Yeah.
So if you're somebody who's starting to study, having videos front loaded in your first month of studying as you're building your notes, as you're starting, that's where I'd be implementing most of your video work. It doesn't
Mm,
mean that there is no video work in January, February, and early March. It means that, hey, you're November of December of this process and you're taking the exam in March of 26. This is the time to be watching videos. They're long, they take a lot of time. You want to build your notes, that's where you start building it. But remember, manage your expectations of what you're getting out of a video. It is a passive learning method, meaning that your retention from it is not going to be a lot. You're not going to get as much out of it as you think, but it is still a necessary part. So if you don't know about what CAPM is, diving into a multiple choice question is not going to be helpful because you're going to start developing all these weird associations and you're going to learn things inside out, upside down.
yeah.
Video is an excellent place to introduce a concept, to
Mm,
show you its basic application. But from there, you have to start figuring out the application and applying. And the only way you get good at it is applying it, right?
right.
So again, you know, it's wonderful to have those videos, but get cooking, figuring out how the ingredients mix together. Well, what if my onions are really watery? Okay, that means you got to cook them a little longer. You're not going to learn that from a video,
Hmm.
right? You're not going to learn the color, you're not going to learn the feel under your spoon until you dig into the material and start working with that material day in and day out. That's ideally what we want you doing. So front load your videos. Not that you can't come back to them and watch bits and pieces and examples of them later, but a majority of that is here and now in the next, 6 to 8 weeks. That's what I would say.
Awesome. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I just hope that students understand that at the end of the day, don't just focus on studying using the videos because you're going to miss out on a lot of the intricate details that are important for the exam. And that's when, you're looking at students who are 2.5 months into studying and they relied so heavily on videos and practice questions. And then they come up to you a week, 2 weeks before the exam and they said, "Oh, I want to hire a tutor to help me pass the CFP exam." It's just kind of
Yeah.
like, all right, like how many times did you reset your QBank? 4 times.
Yeah.
I'm basing it off of who I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, look, you have like a lot of people who've come to us right here in the last week of October. CFP opens up on the 3rd of
Yeah,
November.
yeah,
And, we have people taking the exam all the way till the 12th of November, which is, a pretty long window for CFP. Usually it's a week long, but this time it's 9 days long. And that you're coming in to hire a tutor a week or two beforehand. How much are you going to get out of it when, your previous 2, 3 months of studying couldn't get it done? How are we going to get it done in 2 or 3 sessions? You can get something out of it. It's not going to be a lot, but it just means that maybe your methods need an update and a change because what you're doing, if you're putting in the hours, if you're sitting there and again, Raman, you know this, right? Like if you've run through your QBank 2 or 3 times and you've done 5,000 questions and you're scoring in the 80s and you're going, man, I feel good, man. I got this. That's what Brett or Dalton or Ken or anybody said, if you're scoring in these scores but then you get a question you've never seen before and you're sitting there going, what?
hmm
You're not ready.
yeah,
Your study plan has failed you. And that's the thing that you have to recognize is that when you're heavily dependent on passive methods, and remember, the question bank is not a method of studying. It is a way of testing your progress,
right,
right? That's not what we're talking about. You can't the Q bank, unless you're using it in very specific ways for study purposes, is not a study tool. It is a testing tool. So if that is your mode of studying and you're using it, it's going to be far less effective than other methods that are out there. you got to change your study plan.
Yeah.
And you got to figure out where all of these resources go. And if you don't know, you need to ask for help.
Yeah.
And we know two bald brown guys that are really good at helping with this stuff.
Yeah. Proven.
Not us.
Yeah.
Not
No,
us.
not us.
Some other guys. Some other
Of
guys.
course.
Some
Of
other
course.
guys.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. And in our next episode, we will be talking about the laziest QBank study strategy we've ever seen in our lives and how it could be potentially setting you up for failure. So make sure to tune in, and we will see you guys next week. Have a great week.